welcome to the latest episode of The Impact Narrative. I'm Simon Mabon, and today, as always, I'm joined by my friend, colleague, co-host, mentor, guru, and
non-iPad owning person.
Mark Garnett. Mark, nice to see you as always.
Nice to see you, Simon. Hi. Yeah.
How are things? Are you coping amidst all of the uncertainty?
I'm coping. Unfortunately, as we speak, Rory McIlroy, my son's favourite golfer, took a quadruple bogey on his first hole in the Open.
That sounds painful.
Yes, and yeah, so that's his Open finished after one hole, which is disappointing. But I'm bearing up.
You should probably have said spoiler alert for anyone who's not seen the Open.
I think it's quite possible that they'll know about, because it's a story, it's a shot that went around the world.
Right,
His shot out of bounds on the first hole.
Speaking of shots heard around the world, did you have you recovered from the World Cup on Sunday?
Oh, just about, yeah, and I hear that they're trying to get Stoke-on-Trent renamed Ben Stokes-on-Trent or something. And there's a very obscure joke, because the people who really saved England from a total disaster were called Butler and Stokes. Yeah, and they are the authors of the pioneering study of British general elections and electoral behaviour. Butler Stokes. It's a winning team and it's back again. Not many people, there weren't many commentators who would have known about that, but it's a really funny intellectual joke. So, Simon.
I'm waiting for the punchline, but I fear it's...
Yes, it's a feeble one.
It's in the distance. So, Mark, today is the final day.
It's the final day for voting. Well, final day for the planet. I think that's a little bit alarmist. We don't have Project Fear on this show. We're having none of that remaining nonsense. Last day for the mass membership of the Conservative Party to express their love for the leader.
The great leader.
Great leader.
Indeed. So this is obviously concerning the Conservative...
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
The Conservative leadership election. The struggle to be the next Prime Minister of this great country.
Yeah, a democratic feast has been laid, it's like a banquet before our eyes.
How many people have attended this banquet?
Well, according to the official figures, 160,000. I'd be interested to see what the final voting figures are. But, you know, as long as they get more people voting in that election than the Lib Dems voting in their leadership election, then it'll show the Conservative Party really represents the bedrock of British society. Representative in every respect.
160,000 people.
Yeah, but they're the cream of Britain. They're the people without whom this country would be a middle-ranking European state. Good.
Anyway, I'm thinking Blackadder for some reason. I'm thinking Blackadder.
Oh, the borough of Dunny-on-the-Wold.
Yeah,
but we haven't got, because Roz is going to cut us off. So yes, do you want me to talk about leadership election? It's in the bag for Johnson.
Yeah, we just quickly checked the odds, and the best odds for Mr. Johnson are 200 to 1 on.
Yeah, help yourself.
For Mr. Hunt, it's 25 to 1, 30 to 1. So that tells you a great deal, I think. For someone who's not really a betting man, Mark, what does it tell you?
Well, it tells me that, well, the thing is that the bookies can be wrong, because I remember looking at the odds for Remain versus Leave,
I remember talking to you about it.
Even after the votes had been counted, you know, the bookies seemed to think that Remain was going to win. But I think in this case, we're looking at an electorate which is minded anyway to go for a flamboyant, charismatic character rather than a middle-of-the-roadish character. And although Mr. Hunt, I think he's done quite well, to be honest, given who he is and whatever. He certainly hasn't made a poor showing, but he was never going to win, in my view.
Is there any chance whatsoever that we could see a result that would shock people?
I don't think there's any chance whatsoever. The thing is, again, the BBC, with their hilarious attempt to look balanced, have always tried to get Hunt supporters to debate with Johnson supporters. But I would imagine that they'd been fishing in a rather larger pool when they were looking for Johnson supporters compared to Hunt supporters. So, so for the purposes of this, we'll talk as if Johnson's already there. Past the winning post, hair flying in the wind.
So it sounds like you're describing one of Mr. Johnson's characters in a novel that he wrote.
Oh, really? Could you tell us about this? Is this book of the week?
It's certainly not. I will just quickly flag up the title of this novel.
Please do, for advertising purposes.
He would be the third Prime Minister in British Prime Ministerial history to be a published author by the time he took office. Who are the other two?
Benjamin Disraeli and Winston Churchill.
Indeed. How many novels did Benjamin Disraeli author?
6.
14.
Oh, what? Oh, he wrote a load of rubbish, didn't he? They got the Sybil, Tancred, Coningsby, which is really good.
Right.
And I run out after that. A lot of really weird ones. And in fact, he wrote them quite after he'd been Prime Minister as well. He just couldn't stop himself writing autobiographical novels in which the hero was really not dissimilar to... It was an idealised version of Benjamin Disraeli. And saved the world.
That's what Mr. Johnson has done.
Really?
The title of this book, 72 Virgins, A Comedy of Errors. It came out in 2004, and it's an interesting read. I'll quote you a passage describing the hero.
Please do, Simon. I'm all ears.
The hero. A man called Roger Barlow.
Yeah, Roger is quite an interesting word in this context.
So to a man like Roger Barlow, Johnson tells us, the world just seemed to be a complicated joke. Everything was always up for grabs, capable of dispute in religion, laws, principle, custom. These were nothing but sticks from the wayside to support our faltering steps.
Well, he certainly is a pro-stylist. He knocks Disraeli and Churchill into a cocked hat, I would say. And jolly good. Spiffing effort.
Gosh,
but he saves the world. This man saves the world, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Good. So he's going to save the world. Well, anyway, so we again enter a period of deep uncertainty as we speak. Cabinet ministers are rumoured to be on the point of resigning even before he becomes leader. The establishment is going to fight tooth and nail to prevent the plan, which all the evidence shows is completely doomed to failure. The only thing that's interesting is last night in the final hustings, Johnson started saying things which showed that he is aware of what's going on in the world to a limited extent. So, having criticised Mr. Trump, who we'll talk about later, Mr. Trump the other day, because obviously initially he was trying not to criticise Mr. Trump, and then at a point when he thinks he's won the election already, he's starting to say things which are a bit more, realistic. So he criticised Trump's tweet, and then last night he admitted that America might be quite difficult as a negotiating opponent. Yeah, he was basically preparing us for us, the British people. He's saying we're going to have a no-deal Brexit to achieve the outcome, which means we're going to get lots of brilliant trade deals with other countries, so that there might be short-term pain, but there'll be long-term gain. And now he's saying, actually, probably the long-term gain won't be that much.
Right.
So it's all worth doing. Proroguing Parliament, ripping up the Constitution, all those things are complete. The means are justified by the end of Britain being, basically reduced even further in its standing in the world and its economic status.
Fantastic. God, it's cheery stuff.
I'd vote for him.
Well,
if I was completely stark, raving bonkers. And this
program,
of course,
this program takes no political positions whatsoever.
Yeah, but it comes to a point where it's got to. This is, and John Major. John Major was accused of being stark, raving bonkers because he said he would take Johnson to court to stop him proroguing Parliament. But it's the world that's bonkers, and John Major is just saying, stop the world. It's gone bonkers. And that's where people have to... There are points where academics have to take a stand, because if you don't, you basically lose all integrity.
Sure.
That this isn't a matter of opinion. This is just a matter of fact. That this is a person who has no idea what to do, and he's being chosen as leader by a tiny handful of people. All of this is fact, because they think that he will win them the next general election. This is where it's speculation. I think he's more likely to lose the next general election than Jeremy Hunt, and the opinion polls suggest that. However, on the basis of fact, you can see that this is a decision which has no parallel in British history and is a sign of a country which has lost all anchorage in common sense.
So Mark, just tell us what's going to happen next week then.
Well, Johnson will become leader of the party then
on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Theresa will depart. I think she shot her last bolt. She'll keep quiet now. She tried to tell voters to beware of Johnson yesterday, but in a code that nobody could penetrate. So she'll go to the palace, and I think she's actually although she was terrible at Prime Minister's question time, a question, Mrs May, would you congratulate England on winning the World Cup? Well, yes, but Jeremy Corbyn needs to clean up his party because it's riddled with anti-Semitism. Mrs May, your party is riddled with all sorts of attitudes which people have actually declared in opinion polls, and it's not a minority that's causing trouble in your party, it's the majority that's xenophobic or whatever. No, Jeremy Corbyn is the man who's on the spot here, not me. It's Prime Minister's question time. That's why he should answer all the questions. Anyway, it just shows again the world is totally bonkers. So that's what's going to happen, and he'll go to the palace. The Queen, I hope, wears gloves because, well, they don't actually kiss hands. That's just a phrase that the Prime Minister kisses hands to become Prime Minister, and then all hell will break loose. And I don't know, I have no idea what to do, but it's not going to end well.
On that note, I think we should probably wrap up this section rather than delving into Brexit and all of those potential possibilities that is pure speculation.
Yeah, we don't speculate in this programme, but the world has gone mad.
And on that note, thanks for watching. Do all the usual things, like, share, comment, tweet, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all of those things.
Like Cher, but she's a bit passé now, isn't she? She was big in the 80s or whatever. Where is Sonny now? He skied into a tree, didn't he?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, senator. Yeah. Cher's husband was a senator and he had a skiing accident. Anyway, so that's all from us. Thank you very much for being with us through these traumatic moments. Rory, no, I'm afraid he's not going to win.
Did he really ski into a tree?
He did.